Simplifying shapes. Every artist works differently, so there is no universal method for drawing a body correctly. However, there are notable body masses and landmarks that will be the same no matter what approach you may choose. It can be counterproductive to start your character off with a high level of detail. Establishing where a character's eyes are before even knowing how to pose their body may leave you with a weak end result. Instead, working from big to small shapes, or from macro to micro, builds up a strong initial foundation for your design. Constructing a body can seem daunting because of what looks like an endless amount of muscles and joints, but it can be broken down very simply. You can separate the body into 6 basic parts, as highlighted in the figure below: the chest, pelvis, shoulders, legs, arms, and head. By dividing the body into shapes, you can see the bigger picture more easily. Once you have an understanding of how to separate the body into different shapes, it will be easier to draw your character in more appealing and tangible poses, as well as checking those shapes and accelerating them to make a more interesting stylized design. Bony landmarks, or parts of the skeleton which help to visibly define the surface of the body, are useful for working out where to split the body into sections, for example, at the hips or collarbones. Making these landmarks more and less pronounced also helps to convey a character's physique. You can estimate the realistic base proportions of a figure by counting out how many lengths of the character's head fit into their overall height. An average male figure may measure between 7 and 8 heads tall, unless heavily exaggerated. Similarly, an average unexaggerated female figure may measure between 6 and 7.5 heads. This common rule of thumb can help you to quickly map out a whole figure or change a character's proportion. For example, a superhero character may be up to 9 heads tall to make them appear more impressive. By visualizing the different parts of the body as shapes, it is easier to see how the body is built. For example, in this sketch, the complex pelvis is simplified into a solid piece of underwear. The body is now easier to stylize and pose, as we can see in the figure to the right. Contrapposto is an Italian term used for when the weight of the character is shifted onto one leg and the angle of the hips and shoulders move opposite each other. Posing a figure in this way makes it feel more natural. An effective way of creating a dynamic figure by twisting the shoulders and hips in the opposite direction of each other. Contrast is key to creating more visual appeal. A house cat may have a different type of anatomy than a human, but can just as easily be broken down into the same basic shapes. Focus on taking the most recognizable aspects of the body, such as the chest, front legs, back legs, and head, and simplify them until they are just traumatic mass. A rabbit is a more challenging animal than a cat to break down, because small furry animals' postures often obscure their anatomy. However, despite being a different animal, the shapes are almost the same. This is because the basic skeletal structure is very similar between many different species. The only difference may be that the spine is longer, or the back paws are bigger. Horses are known for being elegant and beautiful animals that are challenging to draw. They have long legs, almost cylindrical bodies, and thick, strong necks. Research and observation is always helpful for capturing the anatomy of a more complex animal such as this.